The problem was that each faith had differences between them, which caused rivalry and division, and made the law impossible to enforce, as no common ground could be found. Fast losing patience, the families had to construct something that would outlaw the many gods and bring all worshippers under one umbrella, a kind of interfaith, so to speak. In other words, monotheism, the belief in one God. As hard as they tried, they could not enforce this, and they knew there were always going to be far less controllers than there were controlled. As always, it was simple common sense. The main reason they wanted to control was to apply taxation. Upon everyone, with the only exception being themselves. And on the backbone of this, create a class division system that would ensure the cogs of the commercial construct they wanted to introduce would always turn, and they would remain at the controls, bathed in the earthly luxuries this would afford them. And of course, the protection of a hierarchical web to hide behind. The World Wide Web. This symbolizes what some might call heaven on earth. For is not heaven truly only where you look down upon others, epitomized by the size of buildings that are said to raise to the heavens? The main objective was to create a society within every community, an element that was socially dominant within each community, that bound the rest of the community by laws. Laws that had to be obeyed. That element being them, the creators of the laws. Social structure was key to unlock all they longed for. To devise a world based on paying to live, and with them being the ones to supply everything that was needed to be purchased to live, including land, food, water, and all the other basic necessities. Toilets, showers. This was the concept they were striving to complete, and was all that was important to them. A mind-based existence that would, in time, rewrite the very values of life itself, to a point they were non-existent, buried under the weight that was survival paralleled by desire. In truth, what they needed was malignant law, and a law that had to be seen to be non-human, divine in its application, and non-tolerance. Master-slave syndrome, devised from a master. There was an illusion to be placed in the mind of the believer, the acceptor, because it would only work if and only if the people accepted it. That acceptance was to come from coercion, fear, violence, force, all this delivered by religion, law, and education, bound by words created by religious and political or political regimes, set up as forms of governance, a governance that could not be argued with, divine, that would in time turn multiple communities into countries, each with a society at the helm, all linked back to the original society. Threat was key, and all that stood in their way was deployment of that threat and how to engineer it on a worldwide scale. How to make sure every society could be created from a template that existed in a book. They would manufacture for that specific purpose, the underwriters, if you will, that in time would result in 210 political regimes spread across 197 countries, and or some would say political prisons. That was until one man read an ancient text that delivered exactly what they sought. That was completely and entirely unethical, corrupt, depraved, and they considered perfect, and would rid them of the multi-god syndrome that Egypt had for a while, well until they needed it again, and create what we all live in to this very day, socially engineered control of primitive humans who went, it would seem, from worshipping fire to invisible beings in the sky. But the story goes on.